I don't know how many of these there are now on the web. Everybody sends me new ones every week. I'm like, really? One of my favorite one is they're at the disco. All the crews are at the disco together. I was just like, okay, this is too much, man. But they got a lot of good ones. Jesse, yeah, we're gonna play "We Are the World," but it's not okay. It's not the regular version of "We Are the World." Okay, it's "We Are the World," but it's sung by different people. Okay, yes, and then hopefully it's short. No, we get these clips all the time. We play them on different shows for different things because they're how can I say this politely? They're half-ass serious. That's the only way I can actually say this because it's really and truly what it is. I mean, because sometimes we'll play stuff. Sometimes people even get offended about stuff we play, and I'm like, well, I didn't make it. I'm just playing it. It's kind of funny and it's kind of stupid, but kind of funny. But anyway, we're gonna get this put on so we can get our butt started and stop messing around here like we don't have anything to do. Okay, where are we? Where are we? And where are we?
When the world
Somebody needs to play this at every UN meeting. Be a good way to start out the UN meetings for a change, instead of with all that hate they got going on over there. I've been to a few of them. It's kind of nightmarish, and I know Fred goes too. And but they really should start it out. Let the world leaders get up there and sing for a while. Jesus, man. Christopher, I get when I play this, I get all kind of feedback on it. Some positive, some not positive. Some just like, who in the hell did this? How much work was involved in doing this?
Right.
You know,
With AI, I think it's like
much more easier to do for some reason.
Yes,
but,
and they use their tonage of their voices, so they use their voice to do it. So now, if you want, you can do it for yourselves. They have a program now that if you want to go put your face up there and talk to it a little bit, you can pick a song and it'll do it in your voice and in your whole 9 yards. It's actually
Right.
pretty good. It doesn't matter. I couldn't sing it. Even with AI's help, it's not going to help me out.
Anyway,
But,
just to bring us back out of the rabbit hole now.
yeah, we're not in the rabbit hole. Yeah,
Welcome.
next show.
Welcome to the Authors Quill Show. And today our guests are Eric James Stone and Darci Stone. And they are both writers, authors, and Eric's a Writers of the Future winner. And I was just reading Darci's bio, and Eric apparently married up because Darci is also a Writers of the Future winner, but she won the grand prize. So here you go. Welcome you guys to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yep.
Sure. And I understand you guys are veterans of Life, the Universe, and Everything, which is a conference that's coming up in Utah next weekend or next week coming up. I spoke with Brian Hales briefly, and he said he's going to be there. He's also an Illustrators of the Future judge, and he said, I told him that you and that Darci and Eric were on today, and he says, yeah, they're veterans of LTUE. So tell us about LTUE.
Yes, well, LTUE started as a science fiction and fantasy symposium 40 some odd years ago now at BYU. It eventually moved off campus, and it now is held in downtown Provo.
Eric, 1 second. You said how long has it been going on?
40 some odd years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They had year 42 recently, which was a big celebration. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is year 44, maybe. Yeah. So it was started by some students there, and it's grown into a large and well-respected writers symposium. It's focusing on science fiction and fantasy.
Yeah, Utah is known for having a high interest in science fiction and fantasy.
Oh, yes.
A lot of readers. We have some authors. So I think there was just a high level of interest, and it was started by college students, but it's really gotten bigger since then.
You know,
Wow.
I think I've done more lectures in
That's
Utah than any state in the union. I mean, I do a lot of lectures in Utah. It's kind of strange. It's and I know y'all big sci-fi, but apparently they're big into aliens down there too. So it's and every time I visit, well, let me rephrase that. Every time I visit southern Utah, I always take a trip down to Area 51, since it's it's like an hour and a half, I think.
Well, and there's the Skinwalker Ranch here in Utah.
But I was actually stationed on Skinwalker Ranch way back, about 39 years ago. But longer than that, about 41 years ago. Damn, I shouldn't even said that out loud. But yeah, so I know quite a bit about it. It's but back then I didn't even think about UFOs or aliens or anything. I was just doing my job. I was just out there, advanced avionics, electronics, tech, special services, and they're like, well, let's go see what's out here. Because most people don't realize it, but the military used to own it.
I didn't know that.
Yes, the military owned it. And everybody said, well, if there was something really there, then why did the military give it up? Well, that's always a good question. And the military is not known to give us things. They like to keep their secrets to themselves. They're kind of stingy with those kind of things. But no, Utah's great. And I mean, y'all have more dark sky parks than any state in the union, including Hawaii, which is just phenomenal. I mean, we were out there a year before last. We were down in Moab for a little while, I guess Moab's like in the middle of the state on the side by Colorado, right? And we were there for a little while, and I didn't think I was going to get my wife to leave. She's like, oh, we're going to move here. I'm like, no, we're not. It's too hot.
Yeah, no, if you're into stargazing, there's a lot of great locations here.
Y'all just don't rain
Good
in it.
meteor showers.
Yes, and I was down there for something else, and a friend of mine who does haunted towns took me on a tour. We were actually going to Area 51, but he took me through about 6 or 7 of these haunted towns. Just old abandoned towns. The skies were fabulous. We got some great images. No ghost people, just images of the surroundings and the skies and stuff. It's just really, really beautiful. And then we're in the middle of nowhere. He stopped. Oh, let's get out. Look at the sky. I mean, look, we've been driving for an hour. There was nothing behind us, and we were still an hour from where we were going. There was nothing in front of us. I think his feeling was like 85 or something. I have no idea where we were. He just stopped and pulled over, and he had like a little cubby you could pull into. And we sat there and listened to the coyotes yip and look at the stars. It was beautiful. Well, but you could every now and then, I guess you could see a plane going into Las Vegas every once in a while, but from where we were. But I always tell people, if you want to go see a beautiful state and you want to see beautiful skies, that's where to go. Plus, y'all are fairly inexpensive as states go. And everybody there is nice, and everybody's into sci-fi. I mean, everybody I met was sci-fi this, sci-fi that, fantasy this, fantasy that. Even the people at the hotels I was staying at, because we were there for lectures on UFOs and extraterrestrials. So they were all telling me about things they saw and adventures they had. I'm like, God, no wonder y'all can write so much. And Utah just reads in a ton, but y'all are producing authors. I mean, you've got to be. I've talked to at least 100 authors out of Utah, at least, and all of them seem to be talented, which is strange in itself. And it's because.
Yeah, we kind of have a joke with writers of the future when they print their winners for each quarter that it's very unusual to read through the list of like honorable mentions and not see Utah multiple times.
Yeah, speaking of which, for L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future, Volume 42, we have 2 illustrators this year that will be published in that, and 1 author. So there's 3 new people from Utah that will be in there.
Yeah. Oh, so this is 42 then, huh? So
yeah,
like the universe and everything, there's even a stronger connection.
Yeah, it's people. A lot of people get it when you say it, and some people look at you like, "What?" But obviously, you've never seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe, but still. It's kind of funny though, because matter of fact, it was funny because I was with a host. I got a show to do after this, and we were actually talking about that very thing because it's going to be part of one of the themes in one of the shows coming up. Just I
thought it was ironic that he went with the number 42 because if he really could see the future, I think he would have gone with 6, 7.
Well, what is 6 times 7?
That's true. 6 times 7 is 42. Oh, I see a conspiracy here.
Yes. It's people ask me about it, the movie all the time. I'm like, well, it's what it is. I find it funny and kind of stupid at the same time. It's just what it is. Would I recommend watching it? It's fun to watch. It's a little goofy, but I mean, it's not going to be for everybody. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's kind of fun to watch. If you like sci-fi and a little fantasy mixed in with some just goofiness, it's worth watching. So what are y'all? I mean, what are you both? So y'all write in the same genre or different genres, or?
Well, I mean, I write science fiction and fantasy, a little bit of humorous horror thrown in. Darci.
Yeah, so my day job, I teach high school science.
Oh my God.
So I kind of like the science side. I really enjoy like Michael Crichton or Andy Weir type books where there's the science thrown in with an adventure. I have been working on like a middle grade fantasy novel, but I did find that was a lot harder for me. So I think sci-fi might be where I fit better.
Well, I got a bachelor's in science mainly because I was a big sci-fi fan when I was a kid. A friend of mine asked me, he said, "Why are you going in there? It feels going to be so hard." I said, "Not if I get a chance to do half of what I think I'm going to get to do." So, it's a strange thing because I ended up with 2 different degrees in advanced avionics electronics, ended up owning a construction company, and somehow got into radio and TV. Life is a very strange place, is all I can tell you. But it's been a challenge. But I love authors because authors and illustrators to me are great because one, I have no talents like that whatsoever. So I'm a little jealous of y'all right off the bat because you can sit there and bat out a book. I get really weird ideas in my head. Nothing I'd ever put a picture on you, but still, it's I enjoy. It's like John sends me the book every year, a couple of weeks before the event, and so I can sit down and go through it. And I really enjoy the stories, and there's really good stories in there. The only thing I wish there was more of was a little bit more of near now sci-fi writers. There's just not enough of them for me. I'm a near now. I say near now. We're talking like anywhere from 50 years to 300 years, but in that genre somewhere, I just prefer it because I like to see where people like y'all think we may actually be headed. And not just in politics and stuff, but in the whole everything. Like I remember Babylon 5 did everything. They from communications to politics to just everyday stupid stuff. They wanted you to get a good feel what this could be your future in 100 years to 200 years. Now, I'm just curious about those kind of things, but I like a good fantasy as well. So I can't say I hate. If it's good reading, I'm going to enjoy it. My only biggest problem is now is I always ask writers if they can make an audiobook because I get this much time to read anymore.
Yeah. I think that's going to be easier now that you can do AI audio for better or for worse.
I think it's going to help in that aspect. Well, it's a conversation that comes up with authors and illustrators all the time. I've read AI novels and books. The problem for them is they can start out okay, they can even end okay, but the middle is always jibber jabber. It's you don't even know what the hell you're reading, really. You're just kind of like, okay, maybe you should retire there, Mr. A, and move into another field. Now, illustration's a little bit different because they have so much to choose from. It's a little bit easier for them to get out there. But I don't think, not anytime soon. I don't think AI is going to have the creative ability because right now it's just stealing from you or from everyone, I should say. That's all it's doing. It's stealing everybody's work and trying to turn it into a work of its own. There is no original thought there.
I do think it's interesting though how it is showing us our own patterns because by looking at what it thinks like this is what a story should be, it's getting it from millions of files that exist out there. So it's interesting to see what patterns emerge of, that is like a cliche or a trope that we do a lot and it'll show up because AI will do it a lot because it thinks that's what we want.
Yeah, in my day job, I do a lot of coding, and AI has made me much more productive. AI is really good at coding, and I think part of that is coding is essentially supposed to be quite predictable in its patterns, and so when AI is coding, it does a good job of producing what is predictable. Based on on how code is supposed to work, and I think visually with images, again, there are patterns that need to be in the image and things like that it has to work off of. But I think with storytelling, it really has a problem coming up with the patterns that actually make a good story, and I think it's a problem AI will eventually solve, but I don't think it's gotten there yet.
Yeah, I think it's okay with line level. Like it can write a really good paragraph.
Yeah, I can do that.
But to make like a story arc with like character development and the pieces came together in
it's not good at that. It'll write a biography for you, but it's I've seen too many now. Well, I do a little work with police departments on AI. I got hired a while back. There was an incident in Miami where someone said they had seen this thing running through the hallway in Miami, this creature thing or whatever it was, and they said, "Seen that?" So they sent me all the video. It took me 3 minutes to figure out that it wasn't real. And the Miami people, what are you talking about? I said, well, first off, I said, it looked pretty wicked, whatever it was, standing in the middle of a mall. I said, but you didn't notice no one upstairs was running or screaming. Nobody had their cameras out. They were just milling through life. I said, you see a monster running through the middle of a mall. What the hell do you think is going to be going on? People are going to be running. People be screaming. I mean, it's going to eat him. I mean, you didn't see any of that. I mean, people were just walking along, so that I was like, guys. And then I said, the thing outside, I said, first off, its hands were stretched this long. I'm like, no. And it's getting better and better. Don't get me wrong. AI is getting better and better, but there's still ways to tell it's AI. There's certain things it just hasn't been able to master. I think most of this has to do with original thought And eventually it'll become self-aware and it'll have original thought. I don't know when, and I'm not even willing to make a guesstimate on that. It could be tomorrow, it could be 5,000 years from now, but sooner or later it's going to get there. My only real problem was I work with two gaming companies. I got a friend of mine that owns one of the new ones, a big company. And he decided that he wasn't, a company came in, an AI company came in and offered him to replace like 2/3 of his employees. So he said, well, I want to know how. And he said, no. So he said, what we're going to do is we're going to use AI. He said, but all my illustrators, all my coders, and all my authors, they're going to write the storyboards. They're going to do everything for me. They're going to make the original boards. They're going to do everything. And then once we're happy with the whole setup, then we'll turn it over to AI. Instead of taking that next year of development, AI can develop it in 6 weeks. He said, and then I get my game out faster at a cheaper price, but I don't have to get rid of any of my employees because he hires starting employees right now at $122,000 a year. Just as long as you've got the credentials, he'll hire you right off the street and put you to work. Because he told me an average game for them took 3 years. He said with the AI, it's going to take about 10 months, and you're going to get a better quality game. He said because this way his authors and his writers got more time to spend because they don't have to worry about how they're going to rewrite all this stuff down the line. That's going to be AI's job. All they're going to do, your job is going to be is creative. I can live with that because I'm hard on AI because I don't want to see it replaced. I got a lot of friends.
Yeah, well, and that's what remains to be seen is are we going to use AI to increase productivity or are we going to use it to replace humans? And I can see it go either direction. So,
well, I was watching it making as a contract. I hired people to do mural work for me, which they make a lot of money doing murals for us. I think the cheapest one I ever did was about $28,000, but the problem is now is you can take the picture and put it on a little robot, and in 15 or 20 minutes, he can do a whole wall 10 foot high, 50 foot wide, and it's done, and it looks damn good. That's going to be hard to compete with because, rich people are going to go, well, wait, I can have my whole house done for what I would have paid to have one mural done in my house. That in a way that really, because like I said, I got a lot of friends that are authors and illustrators, and I hate to see anybody getting. And I know a couple of them that do mural work, and I just hate to see just go this way. But I mean, as a contract, I can understand it. I would use it. I could do somebody come in and say, hey, I would have a professional artist do all the artwork for me, and then I would use it and transfer it into the machine, let the machine do it, and go on down the line. Because I have one lady do a navigation scene on a ceiling of a friend of mine's, one of my owners' properties. It was $116,000 and took 3 months. The
Wow.
robot could have done it in about 3 days, maybe 4. At
Wow.
a tenth of that. You could have bought the whole machine for that, actually. That was just, and I'm not against it because I got a lot of friends. I want to see them make money. And I still use them. Just recently, I had an artist go in, and so all the windows, they made them like they painted brick around them, and then they had like grape leaves and grapes hanging down the side. Really, really pretty work. And then it gave like a broken brick on the sides and all. It was about $5,000 a window. They did every window in the house, and it was a bunch.
yeah,
Now, they could
that Eric helps read Slush.
Excuse me, folks.
Oh, sorry.
You just had a beast. Go ahead. He just had a beast to do.
Anyway, Eric reads Slush for Writers of the Future. And how often do you think you get submissions that are AI generated?
Yeah, well, I mean, there are always a bunch every quarter. And I feel like I have a pretty good handle on telling, oh, yeah, this one was generated with AI. I mean, even when they don't do something stupid like put the ChatGPT prompt in there along with the rest of the copy and paste, but and I don't want to give away some of the tells that
Don't.
But yeah, so I think I can spot AI submissions pretty well. It is possible that there are some AI submissions out there that are so good that I can't spot them. But
I would imagine, though, that those are probably ones where the AI supplemented rather than wrote the entire thing. But who knows?
Could be.
No, I agree with you. I think because I've read too many of them now that they just don't flow is what the problem is. Even if you can get one that can write 400 or 500 words consistently, it just for some reason the stories just don't mesh. they're missing things or their characters just not right. It's irritating. I know that. I do a little reading for one of the local groups down here. You know, Mississippi, we're big on teaching literacy, and in Mississippi and Louisiana, by the way, and it's going up, but still. And you know, books like these are good. They like that stuff. They're going to read that. It's something entertaining to them. They can sit down and read. There's 12 or 14 different stories in there, and they can enjoy it, pass it around, and do whatever they want with it. But I'm just glad to see anybody reading. Audiobooks are great, but I think in the beginning, everyone should read. And then as you become in busy lives like we all have, audiobooks are fine, you know, because if not, I wouldn't get to hear less. If I just did Mission Earth, which was 10 books, God knows how many hours I spent listening to that.
The great thing about audiobooks is you can multitask.
That's amazing.
Being able to exercise or do dishes or whatever.
Or drive in your car. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I have to drive a lot. So a lot of times I'll just throw on a CD or pop in a whatever your thumb drive and just go. I like it. And even in here, like when I'm doing studio work, when I'm working archives and putting stuff together, I'll have one back playing through there's a stereo system, and I'll have it playing through the stereo system. And it doesn't have to have all the bells and whistles as long as it has a good voice. You know, I like the bells and whistles, I'm not going to lie, but I don't need all the sound effects as long as they have a good voice. And if they got one of them voices like, you know, Microsoft Sam, I'm not going to listen to it. It's not going to happen. It's just not. But I mean, I ask illustrators all the time. I say, you know, and I agree AI is going to make that feature easier. You'll be able to do it. And from what I read recently, you'll be able to do it. And I think it's like 14 or 20 types of voices. So you can have it read by an Australian woman or Australian guy. Same thing. Somebody from England, someone from the States. You can get deep voice, not deep voice. I want Edward R. Jones reading me. Hello there, Joe.
I actually a couple of years ago did use Google's AI voice thing to put out my short story collection. It was not good. I just did it as an experiment.
Yeah.
And then just recently, Amazon invited me to try their AI reader, and I decided to, work with my epic fantasy novel. And yeah, they offered a whole bunch of different voices, and you could specify different voices for different chapters, which you couldn't do in the Google one when I tried before. But I, just working on the prologue, I realized it can't pronounce my fantasy names correctly, and I can't construct it. They don't have a good interface to tell how to pronounce it. And so I'm like, no, this is just not going to work.
Wow.
Because I'm working
to fix that problem.
That's interesting. You hear that sometimes on the different reels of AI and things like that, where they'll say they won't get a pronunciation correct on something. And it's
especially in fantasy where you're making up names that don't even exist.
Yeah. In that video at the beginning where it said tribals instead of tribbles.
Well, I could see that. Well, my problem is when I'm talking to any AI, I have such a coon-ass accent that it just changes words and completely different words that have completely different meanings, which sometimes can be embarrassing when you're talking to someone like in a text chat or something. And like, Joe, what was that? And I'm like, what? And I'll send it back to me and say, oh, that's called voice to text. Apparently it doesn't work. But I got a bad accent, so it makes it hard. But they need to have interfaces where you can talk to it while you're working. I'm using it. I think it's called Hollywood. I'm working on a mini series right now for one of the organizations I work for, and it's mostly you have to use text. There's some places you can use audio, but I want it because I want to try to help it to stress some of the pronunciations I want, and I want to help it to deepen some of the voices to a different level. Because some of these are older guys, and some of these are characters that are older guys, kind of cranky old farts. They're going to have that kind of, rustic voice that you're going to be, or like one of them Scottish guys where it sounds like they're talking to you with rocks in their mouth or something. So it's hard to get it to do that. And you can even type in and describe this, which and it will try. I'm not going to lie, it will try, but a lot of times it's just not what you're looking for. It needs a complete audio interface so you can talk to it in real time and explain to it what you want, because frankly, I don't find, y'all are illustrators, authors, so it's different for y'all. Your typing's going to be impeccable, but the average person, let's be honest, half of them can't even spell. Grammar just doesn't even exist in this country anymore, thanks to texts. It just doesn't. And then we got all these LOLs and all these little tags and stuff. So yeah, I imagine we're giving computers fits at this point. But it's, you know, a lot of people can't take that and put that into something coherent to make money out of it or to turn it into something you enjoy listen to. Even though a lot of them have good ideas, they just don't have the skill to turn it into that. See, y'all do. So, I mean, y'all can get out there and put a story together and make a little money on it, or put a story together to help with an AI project. Because it's what a lot of people are doing now. They're using AI. They're coming up with the information and the tags and everything in there. They're using the AI to create their little TV series now. And the AI I'm using right now, let me tell you what, you can't tell a difference. Those people look as real as you and I. They don't, there's no lag in it, no motion lag. And they're really what it looks like is that the AI has taken real people and just merged them together. You know, people, if you're ever into dream studies, they'll tell you, you can never dream about a face you haven't seen. Well, that's partially true. Your mind can take like my face and his face and y'all's faces and cram it into another face. So technically you did see all four of those faces that made the new face, but the new face to you is still new. It's but AI kind of does the same kind of thing. It's going to sample everybody's face and it's going to put it together. I asked it to make me a certain type of extraterrestrial the other day. I wish I had a picture. Y'all would laugh your asses off. It looked, I don't even know how to explain it. It looked like something out of a Marvel comic from like 1910 or something. It was crazy, but you know, as long as y'all are safe, you know, from getting into the illustration and taking over, I'm happy. I have no problem with them making copies, you know, or even maybe making suggestions when they're reading through it, saying, hey, you missed a punctuation here, or maybe you should try this type of, or this word spelled incorrectly or something. But I guess we could call it a fancy grammar check. Yeah, because I'm funny. Like I said, I keep saying this, but I got a lot of friends in the fields, and I really don't want to see them not doing this for a living. Put this, and I'll let y'all talk about this, but in the French Quarter of New Orleans, there's a lot of people who go down and paint on the weekends, and a lot of them do portraits. Now, I've watched these guys sketch a portrait by hand for around $500 in about 2 hours. And I've watched these guys out there do oils in about 5, and they're fabulous. And it costs you $2,000-$3,000 to have one done. You're sitting in the French Quarter, you know, the background is the Jackson Square or the cathedral or the river or something's behind you. So it's very unique. It's very done. But the problem is the same thing we use to do murals can do that same portrait of a person in 5 minutes for around $15. And you're not going to be able to tell the difference. And that really, really scares me because I don't want to see all this mass-produced art. Because to be honest with you, I'm kind of weird about art. I like oils and stuff like that. And I just don't want to see that getting taken away. I figure you, because y'all authors are going to have more time to before it really starts getting into making a problem for y'all. But eventually, it'll get there. Hopefully, we'll have some good solid laws in the next 2 or 3 years. What's that, Jamie? No, they just said they was in Utah. Why? You going out to Utah? Oh, FanX. Y'all go to FanX, huh?
Yes.
Yes. Everybody goes to FanX that lives out there.
Where's LTUE? Is it in Salt Lake or?
No, it's in Provo.
Oh, it's in Provo.
About
Okay.
40 minutes south of Salt Lake.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm.
Still has a lot of college students that go. We have 2 universities here in Utah Valley that both have writing programs. So it's compared to other writing conventions I've been to, it has a very young audience, like a lot of people in their 20s.
That's good.
That are there.
I mean, that's a good thing.
Turnout. Like I remember I went to another writing conference with Eric, and I had only been to LTUE. And so that's what I thought every writing conference was. And they are not.
No, there's a bunch of old people walking around, cranky asses. I should say that because I know a bunch of them, but it's I call it the old people's place. Jimmy, because old people, everybody likes to read, but it's harder in today's society. So when I was a young man growing up, I had a lot of time to read. I hit about 34. If I couldn't read. My wife could. She'd, oh, go give me this. And of course, she reads at warp speed. I went and bought it. I remember I went and got the big hardback of Anne Rice's novel. Interview with a Vampire. I said, okay, I'll see you in a couple of days. I went to work, came home, that book was done. I was like, baby. She said, she said 500 pages is just like for amateurs. I'm like, God, give me 1,500. I'm like, okay. But and at one point we had, before Katrina, we had at least 5,000 books in the house. Most of them autographed. And well, I've been doing radio for 26 years, so I get a lot of books into me, and a lot of all kind of books. I mean, you name it, we've had somebody on the show. And we used to have a Linden library in the house. You know, people would come take and bring them back, deposit off, and bring them back. Of course, Katrina came, which we didn't get water in the house, but we got just enough moisture that there was so much humidity, every book doubled its size. And when they did, it just popped the shelves apart. And so we lost about 2/3 of those books. That really sucked. Wow. And we're just getting back up. I think we got about 1,000 books in the house now. But and the station, every Christmas we give around 2,000 books away every year. Just give them away. That and these, we give these away too. This is so when your mate gives you trouble, you can lightsaber them. This is what you call a glowing probe, people. I know y'all want to call it a lightsaber, but this is a glowing probe. I'll get an idea. That's for when your spouse gives you trouble. So yeah, give me trouble again. What's that, Kimmy? I would imagine anywhere books are sold, they can find you, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have a novel out from Baen. It's called Unforgettable. So remember the title. And it's, you know, on Amazon, of course. And I have 2 collections of short stories that are also on Amazon, and you know, are available through other outlets as well. And
yeah, so I'm in volume 34 of Writers of the Future, and I have
one somewhere.
Yeah, it might be in that stack behind you. I don't know. It's got a cool dragon on the front.
Let's see.
Oh, that was the year that Larry Elmore did the dragon. Was it?
So Tom Wood did 39.
There was another dragon.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
okay.
one, yeah.
What can you believe this?
I think it
36,
was
30, 32, 32.
Well, you're missing a good volume then.
In here somewhere. I've got I bought back as far as I could, because a lot of the books are unavailable now. That they're not, you can't get them. But I think it was like book, I'm gonna say like 26 up or 27 up. I've got all of them, and I had 2 groups that came in packs of 10s, which I got somewhere too. Which I'm pretty sure, oh, it's in the other room. 34 is in that one. So that one's 30 through 39. So I know that it's in that one for sure. No, anything, I give away a lot of stuff, and I give away big packs and groups and stuff. All the stuff behind me is all autographed. So that's why it sits up there. It's good advertisement. And we tell everybody, and I tell this to people all the time, who's up there right now? There's Howling Good Story by Mr. Wolf. That's A Death by Attachment. That's David Hankins. This is an X-File by Kevin J. Anderson. And there's other ones scattered around up there. And what we do is I tell people all the time, you get a new book, you're getting ready to publish it, or you just want to sell some, we'll set it right here. The camera's up there for a different reason at the moment, but we'll set it right there. And or sometimes we get 4 or 5. You see this book 41 still up there. As soon as 42 comes in, that'll come down, go in the stack, and book 42 will go up there.
Yeah.
And
no,
we just
I really enjoy with the Writers of the Future. A lot of anthologies these days have like a theme.
Yeah.
And so you read a whole bunch of stories that are similar, you know, either by their theme or the type of authors they invite to the anthology. But I love that Writers of the Future, like, it is such an interesting mix of, you know, sci-fi, fantasy, just very different ideas. So it's a good mixture if you just want to.
And they put it together pretty well. I've noticed. I've been with them for 8 years, or eight of the new ones, and I noticed when they put them together, they kind of have a flow to them as you're reading through them. No, Kevin. It's not like all sci-fi, all fantasy. There's a couple of genres in there that they allow you to write about, and whoever's putting them together in such a way as you're reading them, it's kind of a progression.
Right. I think the genres that they call the overall genre speculative fiction, but they say sci-fi, fantasy, historical fiction, and light horror. are kind of like the sub genres that the contest entertains.
Well, not historical fiction, alternate history.
Yeah, it would have to
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
it
that
would have
sounds
to
better.
change something about the timeline, but
Okay. Got it. All right. Alternate history.
Book, you know, I
And
understand.
so historical fiction is not the same thing then, right?
No, historical fiction would be basically you write a story about soldiers who were involved in some battle, or historical fiction would be about the founding fathers and some historical events. Alternate history is take a historical event and change what happened and see what the consequences of that were.
Okay, sort of like Man in the High Castle.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I'd say go back and give George purple hair, but not George Bush, George Washington Keith. Yes, I want to see him cross the Delaware with purple hair. I just, personal fantasy. What can I tell you? What's that, Don? Don said, what? Well, we ask this question all the time, so I'll ask him. Don wants to know from both of y'all, what got you into writing? What made you start writing? Yes, okay, I'll ask it that way. What made you think you can write? How's that? Smart ass. Sorry. Go ahead, guys.
So for me, my dad loved science fiction and had a whole big collection of old science fiction anthologies. And so I read a lot of them when I was growing up. And one of them was the early Asimov, which had a bunch of Asimov's early stories. And in between, he would talk about what he was doing in his life at the time. And that was the first thing that made me think, oh, wow, it'd be cool to be an author. And so when I went to BYU, I took some creative writing classes in college, and I took my best story that I wrote, and I submitted it to the Writers of the Future contest, which had just barely started at the time. I think it was probably like year 4 or 5. And I got a rejection, and I decided, I guess I'm not cut out to be a writer. And I gave up writing for about 10 years. One day I got an overwhelming desire to write an epic fantasy novel. And so I started working on that, started going to writing workshops and stuff like that. And I went to a workshop with Orson Scott Card, and he said, you ought to make it a goal to enter the Writers of the Future contest every quarter until you win, or you have sold so many stories, you become a professional and you are no longer eligible. And so I decided to do that. And shortly thereafter, I was a published finalist and then a winner in the contest. That's volumes 20 and 21.
Wow.
It's
so that's so that must have been a boost to get that that encouragement from Scott, right?
Yeah, because Scott's a hell of a writer. Gene, you can go to writersofthefuture.com and take the writers course. And matter of fact, Scott also records in one of the videos on the course. I've met Scott a few times. He's a character. We'll leave it at that. Oh, I love the guy. We've had lunch and dinner. We chatted about all sorts of things. But
and he will be at LPUE this year.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, it's
he did the cover story for volume 42, which is coming out in April too.
Everybody should give Emily a big hug, because she's the one that got him back in the world. Because him and I had a long talk in one of the interviews. I said, no, man, because he was telling me about some of the things that had happened to him. I said, well, I wish I would have known you. I would have took care of that in a heartbeat. I said, woke people, I shouldn't say woke people, but people who just want to hate for the sake of hating, hate me. Because, I know how to get on your skin really fast. And they would, I said, they'd have left you alone. They'd have been too busy hating on me. They'd have just forgot all about you. He's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And then Emily got him out and got him talking, because we wanted him to know, look, you're safe with us. We're not going to let anybody bother you. We ain't going to let anybody hurt you. That's not how this group works. I tell this to all the winners when they come in, we're friendly media. That's what we're here for. We're here to make sure that no bad media gets hold to you, and that to make sure you're getting good press that you can use down the line. And I like Scott. Him and I have the same politics, so we get along quite well. But I can't believe it. Every time I talk to him about that movie, he tells me how much he hates it. I'm like, Scott, no, it was a good movie. He said, no, Joe, it's not. Like, okay, man. Well, I didn't know. He told me the guy was supposed to be like this big, like 9 or 10, and Ender's older than that. And I didn't, I said, wait a minute. Cause it confused me when he told me that. I'm like, wait, a 9-year-old is going to save the world? I don't know if I could have got behind. I was having a hard enough behind getting behind the end saving the world, man. I was like, come on now. But he's a lot of fun to talk to, and he does give really good advice. But I'm sure most of the authors, and most of the judges at Writers of the Future are good people, and they really want to talk to y'all. That's what kills me is, when I first got involved with these people, I'm like, God, these people are so nice, and it scares me sometimes how nice they are. And I was listening to Tim Powers talk with some people last year. He went out of his way, gave up his lunch to sit down and talk with these guys about how you become a good author. And then some guy said, well, who are you? Do you have any famous books? And I started laughing. I said, no, nobody knows who this guy is, man. Don't worry about it. And he said, did I say something stupid? I said, yeah, you might want to look him up. He might say anything else. Oh, it was too funny. But it is. All these judges go out of their way to be so nice to these winners. And it's always fascinating to me to watch. They really want to see all of y'all do so well. And we might see y'all there one day as judges, the way they hire judges now. Mm-hmm. It's I don't know. I enjoy it. And what you said about Scott's absolutely right. If you want to win Writers of the Future, you got to keep going. For illustrators, they can win, and from 1 to 9 wins, they're usually going to win. Authors, a lot of times, it's going to be 14, 16, 18 wins. I know one that took 46 times to win. Was it 46, 47? He's actually a friend of mine. He's a host on this network, matter of fact. But he did every year. He 4 times a year. He was applying, and then he won. I was like, damn, how old are you now? But most of them went, because I interview everybody at least 2 or 3 times. And I find that 14 to 16 is usually the sweet spot where most people come in. And what do you mean age, Chris? I don't know about ages. A lot of the authors I meet are between 30 and 40.
Yeah,
but they go.
The youngest I know of, I think she was 16.
Yeah,
so
16, right?
Yeah.
When you're in high school,
and the oldest was, I think,
70, right?
72. Yeah,
because he was at the party with us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, that was the other guy. He was 70 now. But anyway, trying to put an age limit on it. A lot of people do hit their stride somewhere in their mid 30s to mid 40s, and I just think that's just growing up is what that is. Not so much you've changed your writing skills, you just changed the way your brain thinks on how to get stuff published and how to get people to know you, and you're probably a little more responsible, maybe not drinking every weekend and stuff like that. It's one of the, I'm not gonna say who he is, one of the famous authors told me. He said, yeah, I'd have probably had more money by now. He said, but like the first 15 years, I wrote some good stories. He said, but Joe, I used to like to go out on the weekends, man. Like, really? He said, oh, yeah, man. I was like, okay, nothing wrong with that. To each his own. And when I was young, I went out on weekends. I'm not hating. But it's just good to see. So what you working on? Anything good? Something good? You're going to tell me something good? Come on. I didn't like that look. What's that look about?
Moment we have 2 young children, and that's what
we're Jesus. When you said you would teach in high school, I fell for you right off the bat, man. I got friends that are teachers.
Yes, I'm trying to educate America's youth, and that takes a lot of energy.
Oh, God, I bet you it does, man, because today's kids are stubborn. No, Gene, they're not stupid. They're just stubborn. And I don't know what that is.
Well, and one of the things as a science teacher, just, one of my pet peeves in, I think I see it more in movies than books, but this idea that like the scientists are the bad guys, the evil scientist. And I'm like, no, that is, yes, I'm sure they exist, but one of the things I really liked about Andy Weir's, like The Martian and Project Hail Mary or whatever, is the scientists are the good guys. Like we're the good guys. And
I was so happy to see in the 90s and early 2000s that geeks became wealthy and the good guys, and we're actually getting. No, we're not going to talk about Bill Gates doofus, but just so many of them were such big geeks, and now they're all look at Elon Musk. You can't get any geek in Elon. This guy's going to be worth $1.5 trillion next year. Look at Jeff Bezos. Come on, man. He's more than a geek. He's like a super geek, and he's worth $300 billion. It used to not be like that when I was a kid. Geeks were relatively to work at some lab somewhere, and that was it. But nowadays, they're ruling the world. What do you mean? Why don't scientists become presidents? Ooh, I don't know. I don't make those rules. I'm sorry. Maybe Darci or Eric knows, but I have not a clue. I don't even talk about presidents anymore. It doesn't matter who it is. Somebody's going to upset me somewhere along the line, so I just leave them alone.
Yeah, probably don't. Probably somebody who's a scientist doesn't want to know how the sausage is made there.
Yes, you probably don't. No, Jimmy, I'm a centrist. That's why they say yeah, you read that. It says I'm an equal opportunity hater. That's because I'm a centrist. I can find fault with both parties very easily. It doesn't take much effort. Well, no, because I'm not gonna get into it here, but I mean, you can come listen and ask us. I'm doing the chat, but it's today's politicians are. That's the nicest thing I can say. Worms. I don't know. They don't seem to have our interest. When I was growing up, it was different. Politicians get out there, tell you what they're going to do, how they were going to do it, shaking hands, hugging on people, making sure what they were doing, getting done. Today, it's like they tell you something. 4 years goes by, they tell you something again. 4 years goes by, they tell you something again. It's a little aggravating after a while. So it doesn't seem to matter which party it is either. It just seems to continue with whether you're blue or red. It just seems to continue. James, I would think Utah was a red state, my friend. Yeah, I would have to. If I had to pick a color, I would say it was red. Not everybody there is. No, I'm not going to say everybody there is because I do know a few liberals out there, but for the most part, everybody I know out there is pretty red. Why? I love red people. Yeah, they're Indians. I set you up for that. I'm sorry. Anyway, I know we got to get the other guest on in a few minutes, but I love people who seem to be joining, and I feel for you with two kids because I know mine are grown now, so I don't have to worry about it. But Jesus, man, raising children with any career is hard. What do you mean stay at home? I was actually first 4 years of my son's life, I was a stay-at-home dad. Yeah. My wife didn't want to stay home. She wanted to work. She said, I want to wait. She said, I just want to go to work. I was like, sure, I'll stay home.
While we got Darci and Eric here, are either of you going to be part of the panels for LTUE?
Yes, I'm on several panels, including one about Writers of the Future that Darci and I will both be on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I have a minor in cultural anthropology. So I'm going to be on some panels related to, like the, world building and cultures and how they influence your novel. So.
Oh, okay. That sounds fun. Yeah. It's
well, good.
I always did like any kind of anthropology.
And where is LTUE located? Oh, you told me. Oh, it's in Provo, right?
In Provo, Utah, which is about 40 minutes south of Salt Lake City.
Right.
The website is ltue.net.
Okay. And you have about how many people that will be in attendance?
A couple of thousand, I think.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And they have it every year. It's always near Valentine's Day. So.
And this year it'll be about right on Valentine's Day, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know this year if they're doing a lot. I know in the past there's the podcast Writing Excuses with like Brandon Sanderson and Dan Wells and stuff. They will often be on panels at this. I don't know if they are this year.
I don't think
they are this year.
Okay.
But it's always fun the years that they come out. Mary Robinette Kowal is sometimes out there, and so they get some good names.
Excellent. Any other writers of the future judges that will be there?
I don't know about judges. Wolf Moon often comes out. He's a previous winner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure who else will be there.
The guest of honor a couple years ago was
Jody Lynn Nye.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I love Jody.
Yeah, I've seen Jody's talks at the Writers of the Future seminar workshop.
Right now,
she does. I like what she does.
Well, she holds the record on the network for most listens on the archive for Writers of the Future. We did a 2-hour show. This is one afternoon. We set it up just as something different, because I interview all the judges eventually, but we had an interview and then we did another one, and this one was just really good. It flowed really well. Got into a lot of deep stuff on how what makes a good author. How do you get out there? How do you really tell what a good story is? We were trying to give a little jump for people who don't understand how this works. What's that, Jack? What do you mean? So I've probably talked to over 1,000 authors by now. With these guys, over 100 for sure. But I knew nothing about really any of it until I got hooked up with Writers of the Future. So now when I'm actually talking at Tulane or LSU or one of the big colleges, and wow, are you an author? I'm like, no, just listen to all that stuff. I said, I learned all the jargon, and I actually know what stuff means now when I'm listening to y'all talk. I mean, when I first started doing this, I'm like, what? Whoa, wait, stop, go back. What the hell is this? Because I'm not an author. I know all these damn terms, man. So I'd stop and make them explain it. So now it's very fun to do interviews with authors now because I actually know what y'all are talking about, which helps. Whatever we may be talking about. I just did one that's called Godsmack. It's guys talking about the end of the world. It's a legit novel written by a very interesting character. I can't mention his name so the novel comes out, but I'll tell you this: he's very, very famous. and it's the kind of famous that when you hear the novel, you're going to be kind of like, really? And where did this guy come up with this from? Makes you double think. But we got to I know we got David hidden down there. I see him down there. Hey, David, we got you hidden down in the queue down there. He can hear us, but we can't hear him, James. Don't ask me. I did not invent this system. Don't even ask. I don't know. StreamYard has its own ways of doing things. That's all.
It's David Elsensohn from volume. He's a Writers of the Future winner from volume 36, I believe. So, and he's there's another guy, Storm Humbert, and he came out with he has an anthology coming out, and David did the editing on it. So
yes, I always call Storm Stormy, like Stormy Daniels. It's like joke with it, man. I was messing with it.
Mm-hmm. Hello, David.
Hi, good to meet you. Thank you for having me on.
Sure.
Just dropped him in the queue, didn't even tell him hi. Jesse, what you got? Wait, what? Oh no, so I guess you can ask this too, David. It was actually put to Darci, but they wanted to know what your all-time favorite fantasy and sci-fi novel is. Is it one of your own or is it somebody else's?
Wow.
Well, I mean,
see, I hate questions like that because I like too many of them. I couldn't pick a favorite.
Right? It's like Lord of the Rings trilogy is
that's a good one.
The longest and earliest one I had. But I
got me through tech school.
Really impressed by certain other ones I've read in recent decades too. Of course, now all the names are just flying right out of my head. But I'm getting into N.K. Jemison's trilogy, and also like Tamsin Muir's, Gideon the Ninth, and was highly impressed by those. But I've often been reading, digging up old 70s and 80s fantasy paperbacks and reading those too, and getting a lot of fun out of those.
Yes, I get on administrators all the time about them fancy books, and then they're no content inside. I'm like, what the hell is this about? Darci, Eric, what you think, guys?
Well, I'll say that my favorite book series is the Honor Harrington series by David Weber, and our daughter is named Honor in her honor.
That's how much you like that.
Yeah.
I've already mentioned it a few times but currently one of my favorites is probably the Project Hail Mary, which they're making a movie of it, but I would recommend read the book first. It's
I always read the book first.
And the main character is a high school science teacher. So yay.
Oh my gosh.
That works. Hey, that works. Look, girl,
David, just so you know, Darci is a high school science teacher.
There's going to be a special place in heaven for her because high school kids are nightmares.
Any book where I get to save the world is a good book.
That works. Carolyn Ross, where are you from, Carolyn? I seen your name earlier. Oh, yes, no, yeah, London, right? Yeah. Now, next year you can ask that, but I just seen. I recognized the name when I came in. Now this is the Authors Quill. We talk with authors. Sometimes we talk with illustrators, mostly authors, but Yeah, we don't give them stinky illustrators much time. They're stinky, man. I'm just kidding. Some of my best friends are illustrators. Some of my best friend judges are illustrators. They're going to shut up. They'll give me trouble if I see them this year. They like to give me trouble. I don't have any favorites. I liked his idea with Lord of the Rings because it got me through tech school when I was in Navy. I was stationed in Tennessee going to tech school for electronics and avionics, and then I went and got my bachelor's afterwards. It got me through. I read it 3 times, all 3 books while I was in tech. You'd be surprised how much that saved me from punching somebody upside the head, man. Jesus. I was stressed out. Well, see, Navy, you have to pass every test. You have to ace every test. You miss one question, you fail the test. If you do that 3 times, you flunk the course and you're out. You got to go do something else. So yeah, it's very intense. I'm not a big fan of The Hobbit. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not. I tell you what, if you want to read The Hobbit, read it before you read Lord of the Rings. Most of y'all probably already seen Lord of the Rings now, so you're probably ruined on that. But it's best to read The Hobbit first, then read Lord of the Rings, because Lord of the Rings is better than The Hobbit. So if you read The Hobbit first, it's like a build-up to Lord of the Rings. Not everybody's going to agree with me. You don't have to. We live in America. That's why we live here, so we don't all have to agree. It's why we live in this country. So we can say, well, I don't like what you just said, you know?
And then you can jump into the Silmarillion.
Yeah.
I just remembered one of the series that I have probably reread the most is the Murderbot Diaries, which I would strongly recommend. It's a series of like novellas, and there's a couple full-length novels in there, but it has one of the best point of view characters I have ever read.
I read the first one. That was impressive. I'm gonna pick up the others.
What, Jimmy? What?
Who's that by?
Wells?
Martha Wells.
Martha Wells.
Oh, okay.
You know, my pistol's named Martha. That's weird. I'm serious. It actually is. What's it, Jesse? The Martian Cross. No, that's Ray Bradbury, man. You can get that anywhere, yeah. But that's older than I am. I'm pretty damn old. So
Classic, yeah.
It's if you ever watch, okay, real fast. 'Cause I don't want to get onto this. If you're gonna watch a TV series, because there is this 3-part TV series, know this: it does not follow any rules. Okay, there's air on Mars, there's gravity on Mars, there's pressure on Mars. They're just walking around doing whatever. There's aliens on Mars, so it's a fun movie. It's kind of a little intense at some points, but it's out of character for Dave because unfortunately its special effects are very dated in today's world. But I just read the book. It might be better just to pick up the book. You'll probably get more out of it than watching the series. That would be my suggestion, yes. But hey, watch it. It's there. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. I like anything sci-fi. Like I was telling Darci earlier, I like near now sci-fi. That's why I got into The Expanse and Babylon 5.
There you go. I'm watching The Expanse now myself.
Oh, Expanse is good.
For the second time.
It's a good series, but I tell all the time, you got children, you can't watch it. It's not child appropriate in any form.
There's some parts of it, yeah.
Well, there's just a lot of nudity and a lot of drugs there. But there's a lot of really good, solid sci-fi in it. And I mean sci-fi that is producible, that could actually turn into something real. So there's a lot of that in there. The fact that humanity is going to one day live 300, 400, 500 years, that's just a given. It's just going to take us how long it's going to take us to get there. I just recently read an article out of Helsinki that said they could already expand our life to about 150. And most people don't realize it, but if you're 100, say you're 80 and you move to Mars, you're going to add 60 to 80 years to your life. One, you won't even have to take your blood pressure medicine anymore because there's no real gravity on Mars. It won't be pulling down your heart, causing it to have the problems. It also, the wrinkles in your face will start to go away because it won't be pulling in. All the rest of your organs in your body will relax. There won't be any pull. Gravity is what kills us. People don't realize that. Mars doesn't have that gravity. And there's other things that Mars has, the types of pressures and all, that are conducive to living much older. So what you might see, and Elon's talked about this, people might live here to 80 and then move to Mars and live there for another 80 years. Different planet. No, John, once you live on Mars like 10 years, you're not coming back to Earth. Nah. I imagine the gravity would be too much in real science. I think give them a while, they'll figure it out. I'm sure I'll be dead by then, but they'll figure it out. I got fans. So, David, what's your favorite genre to write in, man?
You know, I've always loved heroic fantasy and sword and sorcery, that kind of thing. I love
Ooh, that's
reading, I
fun.
love writing it. But the stuff that I tend to write and the stuff that tends to get published more often, I find myself writing a lot of horror and sci-fi with kind of like religious overtones that don't have a lot of giggles in it. Don't know. I just sort of like fall into that sort of thing.
It's I noticed it's a strange thing. So but this is only for me, by the way. I don't want to get anybody out there getting on my butt about this, but so Battlestar Galactica is a perfect example. First Galactica was campy, goofy, stupid. People loved it. Second Galactica was very dramatic, very little laughter in it. People hated it. Even though it was acclaimed, it did not pull the audience of the first one. It's why, it just got pushed aside. It should have been a great series. They had great actors. They changed up a few things, but they took a few luxuries here and there, but still there just wasn't enough. And that was the biggest complaint about it. There was just not enough laughter in it. Because one thing about sci-fi, being military, one thing for sure, when something gets really, really, really bad, some dumbass is going to crack a joke. It's like whistling in the dark. It's something to break this tension or the stress level to keep you from making a bad mistake. And they actually teach you that in the service. They want you to, because if you don't, if you get over tense, you'll just tension up. You'll mess up. You kill one of your own people, take somebody out you shouldn't have. So they expect that. And matter of fact, when you hear like SEAL teams getting ready to leave to deploy, they'll be cracking jokes the whole damn time. Somebody probably not coming back from that group, but they don't care because you have to keep it at a certain level or you'll overtense yourself.
That's a coping mechanism.
Yeah, it is a coping mechanism, and you'll see it in good sci-fi a lot of times. I don't need depending on
it's a coping mechanism
to keep you from losing your mind.
Is that in real life or is that for writers?
No, in real life.
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what they are.
Relief.
Matter of fact, you'll see
Yeah.
like in Apocalypse Now, you see the guys out there.
Joe, hang on one second. I think Darci and Eric are saying their goodbyes.
We got to go make sure our 2 children are still alive.
Okay, excellent. Thanks so much for being part of the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, have a good one, guys. Appreciate it.
All right.
Speaking of that, where's my dog at? She said I had to look down and see where my demon was. It's like Expanse. I enjoyed Expanse. It's just you can't have your kids sitting there watching it. But it was fun. It was good, and it was hard serious. And even in that, that was some pretty serious sci-fi. But every now and then, somebody's got to crack a stupid joke. This guy's about choking this one guy out. He just says, "It's just really stupid." It's it breaks it enough that you can move on to the next scene enough. But I'm not the kind of, I don't need completely. As long as there's a little bit of humor in something, I'm usually okay. I don't need a lot. Some people go a little overboard with it, and like in Star Trek's a great world, but it's a real fantasy world. It's not anything that we're going to be seeing in the next 300, 400, 500 years. So for us, it's kind of
way. I like humor injected or present in a story, but if your story is a running gag the whole time, or if it's full of shenanigans or punnery or that kind of thing, I'm like, it's not for me.
Yeah, right. It just doesn't work.
It's a different genre at that point, then. So
that said, I still like Douglas Adams.
I was listening when people. I noticed a lot of people when they're talking about Asimov and other sci-fi writers from back in the day. I had no idea who any of these people were, even though I was reading their stuff and even seeing some of the stuff that was turned into TV series and stuff. I really had no idea who these people were. Not a clue. Don't know why. I think part of it was I was in private school and we were always forced to read classics. We had to do a classic a week. And I think it kind of interfered with whatever else I was doing because you had to make sure it was in your head. You had to write a good book report about it. And what are you going to write about Red Fern Groves? The damn dog died in Red Fern Grove. That's pretty much the story. Yellers. So they'd like to do a lot of those too. So it kind of got in the way of my sci-fi. So I wasn't really paying attention to the authors, but I was reading the sci-fi or watching the sci-fi just to have my brain released. Hell, I didn't even know who Gene Roddenberry was until I was 30. I I wasn't paying attention. I mean, I enjoyed Star Trek, but and to be honest with you, I didn't even think it was all that great back when I was a teenager. I was catching in the reruns the first time, and I was like, well, I can kind of see why this campy shit got canceled. Jesse, my favorite episode will always be I have two favorite episodes. I have Trouble with Tribbles and when they follow when the Vulcans, I mean not the Vulcans, when the what are they? They look like the Vulcans. And then they come attack in Federation space, and then they're following him through it, and they catch him just before he gets back in and kills him. Oh, what the hell? I can't remember what it's called now. Well, the guy who played the actor is the guy who plays Spock's father in the series. Yeah, he played the actor in that particular. It's like early. I think it's early on in the show. I don't know why I can't think of it. It's Sarek was the guy's name in regular Star Trek, but he played the actor in this one where they crossed Federation lines and were blowing up Federation bases, and Kirk tracked him back. Yes, it was pretty good. Those two are probably my favorites. Everybody's got their favorites. I know a lot of people like the one where Spock goes to, or where the one with Pike, and it's y'all all get to watch Pike now. He's got his own show. I don't know how many people. Look, people, don't get me started on today's TV. Okay, I don't know what this new thing is. We get 10 episodes a year. And sometimes it's 10 episodes every 2 years. That's ridiculous. I mean, that's Doctor Who had a new episode. I haven't seen a new episode of Doctor Who in 2 years. Expanse did that a couple times. A couple of these sci-fi series have done this. They'll give you 10 episodes and you don't see them again for 2 years. Come on. In the old days, they did 25 a year.
Right. They have to wait till they get funded. Anyway, David, you're the editor for this Misfits anthology.
Hopefully.
Oh, okay.
I like that. Hopefully,
we need to get it funded, and then I'll get to work.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so the Kickstarter launches in 2 days or actually 1 day on February 8th, and hopefully after that point we'll be able to
send me an email. Send me a link in email. I'll post it. It's iCarCox.net. I'll post it up to the web. I'll be working on my website in the morning. I'll post it up.
Okay. Did you see that, Joe?
Oh, it's in the private.
In the private chat. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good deal. Yeah, because that way I can tell everybody, hey, why don't you go there and give them a helping hand.
Okay.
Jimmy, Kickstarters are a great tool. They introduced me to it. I haven't personally used it, but I know a lot of people who have. The first time I heard about it, what's his face made $42 million on it. What was the guy's name? He was some author somewhere.
Was it Brandon Sanderson?
No, I don't know who made $42 million, whoever it was.
Oh, wow.
Well, it was like year one or year two. John was talking about it. But no, Kickstarter is a great thing. I mean, problem with Kickstarter is, Christopher, is once you set your amount, you have to reach that amount.
Right.
If you don't reach it, all the money goes back. Now you don't got anything you can do about it. It's just the way. So do something reasonable. I mean,
when you say that all the money goes back to the donors?
Yeah.
The money hasn't changed hands yet at all. They're pledges until it's determined that it's been fulfilled or that once it's funded, then we can do a round of collecting the pledges and then proceed with the open submissions call or anything else that we need to fulfill and deliver the.
It's a great tool. Yeah, Jack, it's a great tool. I'm not going to tell you it's going to work for you every time. I mean, you have to have a following or a way to get things out. I'll tell you the easiest way to do it if you're nobody, just start this 5 million podcasts in the United States. Just start submitting. People need guests. We have 35 shows in this network, and we're getting ready to add another 5. That's 40 shows producing 80 hours a week. All those shows have to have guests. Not just us. Coast to Coast does 7 shows a week, 4 hours a night. They have to have guests. And after you've been on as long as they have or we have, you start recycling guests. So just write. People need. That's how I got on Coast to Coast. First time I had my audience write in. I said I need 100 people to write in. Next day, Lisa Lyon called me. Actually, Stephanie called me. And after that, Lisa Lyon called me. It was so get yourself out there, people. Yeah, there's always somebody in this network looking for a host. Well, this show is going to produce between 2.8 and 4.1 million listeners. So, well, it sounds better than what it really is. So, out of that, probably 500,000 or 600,000 will be U.S. The rest will be spread around the planet. I think the show goes out to 160 countries, so it's spread around the world. But we've been developing the show over the last year to really start to give writers a place to come sell books. Well, we never really had any place on the network to help people sell stuff. When we do so many shows that are strange, it's unless the book is orientated to that particular topic. In other words, if you come on like tinfoil and you're trying to sell a book on politics, it's not going to happen. You come on tinfoil trying to sell some book about aliens invading your house, well, it'll probably sell there. I don't make the rules, Frank. I know it's just how it is. I'm sure David's familiar because he's in the business, but
right. Have you read all the short stories already for the anthology?
Not yet. What we do have is we have a few anchor authors that have agreed to have stories in the anthology, and that's to help sell it to backers, and also they'll spread the word among their fans as well. But if it funds, if the promise of it funds, then we'll be able to put out an open submissions call so that authors can submit stories according to our prompt. Then we'll get all of those. We'll do a long slush reading period and make a choice as to which stories get chosen to appear in this anthology. Our last anthology, Intergalactic Rejects, was I think it resonated with a lot of writers because the premise was every writer has a rejected story. Famous, well-established writers have rejected stories, and stories that they're good, but they just never found a home anywhere. The publishing markets are looking for a certain theme or just not what they're looking for. So we wanted to give those stories a home, and we got a big response off of that. We got over 1,400 submissions, and while this theme is a little, hopefully it'll resonate as much. This idea of misfits, stories of longer than flash fiction, shorter than traditional short story length, with the theme of that which does not belong, didn't fit expectations. So once we know whether we, in the next 30 days, whether we'll have enough money to do it, then we can proceed.
Okay. Wow.
I like Startup better than GoFundMe and a couple of the other places. It seems to be more useful for authors and illustrators and stuff like that. Jimmy, I'm not going to say it's for everything, but David didn't probably know more about it than I do. I mean, I'm just familiar with people who have used it, but I have not personally used it. No, I have used good.
When we were looking around trying to figure out how do we want to crowdfund this, GoFundMe seems like a personal thing. Like I need for medical bills and so forth, and Kickstarter seems to be project based. Like I have something I want to make, and if people can help me out, help us out, then we can deliver it to you.
No, I agree with that.
More rewards based than GoFundMe. I'm not sure. I don't think GoFundMe has like tier.
GoFundMe's got all kind of fees in it and stuff. They aggravate me sometimes, and sometimes I'll just have people send stuff to my WhatsApp account. I mean, not my WhatsApp, my Cash App accounts and stuff like that. I used to use Vimo, but they've gotten a little weird too. And well, Jane, you got to remember, a lot of these Kickstarter's not as bad about fees. A lot of these, like Cash App. If you send me money, they're going to charge you like 5 cents or $10, whatever it is. But when I take that money and send it to any of my accounts, they're going to charge me again. Mm-hmm. So, if it's like, say it's $500, it's going to end up costing me $35 or $40 for those two to go between the two banks. Some BS is what that is. And PayPal is the worst. Even though I do use PayPal, they are the worst about fees. But they're also probably the safest too. So he had that's perfect what he was saying about GoFundMe versus Kickstarter. That really seems more like it, because GoFundMe is what you hear would say, oh, such and such, needs hospital bills, or like the 2 crazy shootings in Minneapolis. That's what they use, was GoFundMe accounts to give them people money. Yeah.
Wow.
One got 1.5 million and one got 1 million. Last I heard, both accounts had been turned off. Yes. Can't get into that. You can ask me down in the next show in the chat, but we don't talk about that here.
Okay.
That's sad stuff.
So David, that was interesting what you were saying about the how this is developing, because I thought it was further along than it actually is, and it's very much in the development stage then, right?
Right. We've got the graphics. I do the graphics for Calendar of Fools.
Okay.
So we have the book cover ready to go. We've contacted and established our anchor authors who haven't yet written their stories, but they've agreed to.
Okay.
But yeah, we're just about to launch the Kickstarter tomorrow. And
interesting. So Joe, in the confirmation email, Joe.
I'm listening.
Oh, good.
Who's listening?
I couldn't tell.
I was rolling up the screen.
I put a link in that confirmation email that has the cover art there. So that's what you did, David, right?
Yeah, we purchased the artwork itself from an artist.
Okay.
And the design of it, the typeface, the title, and the layout and everything is me. So I'm usually the one at Calendar Fools to handle that sort of thing. Storm Humbert is usually handles Kickstarter things and is in charge of sort of a lot of management aspects of it, and some of us do handle the sales, and so we often trade roles and responsibilities. So after Zach Bede edited the first, Storm did the last one, and they asked if I wanted to do the next one. I hemmed and hawed, and then said yes, I would.
Okay. And David, you're out in Palm Springs now too, right?
I am. I am an LA native, born and bred, and we still miss LA, and we might, be back there someday. But for now, yeah, I'm enjoying where I am.
Oh, LA. I go to LA about twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year. If I'm doing TV stuff, it's 3 times a year because I go out to meet these guys, and then usually I do something for Discovery and History each year. Some kind of something or another. Jesse, you mean Ancient Aliens? Yeah, I've been on there a few times. You can go see me on there. But I've been on History and Discovery on other shows too. Yeah, it's just one of them things. If y'all want to be extras here in Atlanta and in New Orleans, they're hiring extras at $35 an hour. And if it's nighttime, it's $45 an hour.
Wow.
And the cater probably good.
Yeah, they do feed you real well and stuff. No. Go be an actor? Yeah, go for it. No, I get more than $45 an hour when I do acting for them. No. It used to be $360 an hour. I think it's like $880 now. Yeah. No, they pay me for the whole time. It doesn't work like that, Jimmy. So they pay for my airfare back and forth. They pay for my hotel. Last time they put me up at the Mandarin in the presidential suite, which is really nice. It wasn't even actually the Mandarin anymore, but they pay for everything: food, drink, the whole 9 yards. And they flew me out business class on both flights out to DC. They like to do calls in DC. They'd like to do in LA too, though. LA, they go use somebody's house. In DC, they use one of the fancy dancy hotel rooms. It's a lot of fun though. Yeah, in DC, they paid me $880 an hour. The first night was 5 hours. The second night was 4 hours. Yeah, only time you're in front of the camera you get paid for. Or if you're standing waiting, you get paid for it. But I'm not going to complain, man. Just shit. When last time I was in LA working for them, I think I made $10,000 in 2 days.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, this is as good as construction here, man. What the hell? One of these, oh no, now I'd get more. It goes by how many times you've done things, how many hours you get in, determines where you are in the chart. Yeah. Like I said, the first time I ever did it was at the Washington Press Club, and they paid me $360 an hour. I was giving a lecture at the Press Club. Yeah, it was fun. Oh, the Press Club's great if you can get there. They feed you fabulous food. I got to meet Edgar Mitchell there and Edgar Mitchell and Buzz Aldrin there. It's the second time I'm meeting. They were personal heroes of mine. It was great having dinner with them and chatting for hours about things they had experienced. It was fun listening to Buzz and what's his face argue about they never went to the moon and stuff. That shit was just priceless. He tells Buzz, why do you always say that? He said, come on, they watch this go and land. If they can't figure out what else I'm going to tell them. I was like, Edgar's like, stop it, Buzz, stop it. They were great. I mean, they were this great to meet in person. They were also several of them happened to be authors. I didn't know that either until recently. Several of them astronauts turned out to be pretty good authors, writing under pen names, but still. Well, that's a good question. I wanted to ask them too. Somebody asked me the other day. They're just starting to write, and they finally sold their first novel. And he said, "Should I have used my real name or should I have used a pen name?" I said, "I really don't know." I said, but I'll ask next time I see some actual authors. I'll ask them what they think, because I know Writers of the Future tells you to come up with your own signature, so that it's not as easy for somebody to sign. But I never really thought about it. I mean, why do y'all use pen names? Just because you don't want your real name out there? Or is there another reason, or what am I missing here?
Well, okay. For some, I imagine it's when they have written and published a lot of works that are maybe of a certain genre, and they want to write in a different genre, but maybe publishers don't want to do that because, like, no, we want more of what we've already sold of your work. And so maybe they'll write it under a pen name. Some of the more established ones. I mean, historically, I know a lot of women have had to publish under a different name because of how much less likely they were to
get published. To
get published. And now, thankfully, that's
that's all changed. But still, I remember back in the day, it was I was we're just old enough to be in between everything. I was remembering being from New Orleans. I remember New Orleans was a very, very racist city. And matter of fact, I lived in the suburbs. If you were black and came in the suburbs, the police would pick you up, put you in the car, and bring you back to the city and tell you, if we see you here again, you're going to jail. Now, you can't do that today. You cop would be in big trouble. And there was a lot of this, like the sheriff, he used to do stuff. And if there was more than 3 people, they considered it a gang. They would arrest your ass. Only if you were black or Hispanic, not if you were white. I watched all of that growing. I watched the South go from being the most racist place in the country to the least racist place in the country. It's very strange. My son's in an interracial marriage. And he just came back from Minnesota, and he said those people are ungodly racist. He said he was in Salem. He said I cannot believe. He said, "Dad, it's the North. They're not supposed to be racist." I said, "Oh no." I said the North became very racist over the last decade and a half. I said, "I don't know why." I said I have several friends move out of Chicago and move back to New Orleans because of it. And these aren't just poor people. This is like Janine and Mark. These are lawyers, and they are high dollar lawyers. They said it's gotten so racist in Chicago they don't want to live there anymore. They said it's just people stare at you, people tell you stuff. He said I've lived here my whole life. No one's ever told me anything. One day I'm walking out of a grocery store and some guy blinked the N-word like 8 times. I'm sitting there. What the hell? I ain't even done the guy anything, Joe. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. But I've heard that from a lot of people now, from a lot of black friends of mine, and they're saying they've been coming home to the South. I mean, the South has a majority of blacks to start off with anyway, but still, it's different here. New Orleans is a 50-50 city. So you either learn how to get along, or every time there's a party, which is every weekend, there's going to be a fight. Well, there is no fights. Black people don't kill white people. White people don't kill black people. They all get along just fine. They go down in French Quarter and party till they drop. They've learned how to get along. They've learned that it's stupid. But for some reason, our country flip-flops here and there. That's a good book for you to write right there, Dave. You might have to get a pen name for that, too, my friend, but still. So sometimes, I learned a long time ago when I got into media, sometimes somebody just has to point something out. Usually it's enough if one person points something out that somebody else, and especially in today's world, anything can become viral in minutes. Dave might decide that he's going to put out a new book and put out a crazy cover and, sells 500,000 books and the book's got 3 words in it, but it's got a cool cover. It's a different world. Dave, let me ask you a question, man. So being an author, do you notice if it's like particular age groups that buy from you? I'm curious because I never, the Z-Geners are a weird group.
No, I don't have a lot of published novels to work from.
Okay.
So I don't have the demographics of the readers of the stories and the things that I've done. But just in following a lot of accounts of readers and everything like that, I think it's I think it's still very strong and extremely diverse. And I know that there's a lot of people looking for more diversity in what's available to read. So I don't know. For my own work, I think it's going to be fairly varied and not cemented in like a particular age group or more men than women or anything like that.
Well,
I mean that's why I try to keep my writing as open as possible and accepting and diverse as possible.
That's a good thing to do.
Because I know I'm writing from a older white male viewpoint, and I want to try to think outside that. It's because I don't.
Which is a good idea. No, it's a good idea.
Anybody because of something I wrote.
Well, Jesse, the Z-Geners are a very strange generation. First off, they don't like to gamble and they don't like to drink. Yeah, they're the amount of alcoholics amongst the Z-Geners is low. Even the millennials, it's much lower.
That's expensive. They don't have the money to do that anymore.
Yeah, that is part of it. But a lot of when you interview millennials, they'll tell you it's because their ex-gener parents or their baby boom parents were alcoholics. So it's kind of strange when you listen to them talk. But my son don't drink much. He'll drink, but he's not a big drinker, and most of his friends aren't either. They'll go out every couple of months and have a drink or something, but they're not. When we went out, we drank till we went out at 11, didn't come back till sunrise. Yeah, put your sunglasses on, go into your car, man. What the hell? They're just not like that, which is for the most part, I think it's a good thing, but I think there's a lack of socializing thanks to, the internet. Everybody says, well, we socialize on the internet. That's not real socialization. That's saying hi to somebody, but flesh and blood and talking to somebody on the internet is not quite the same thing. It's close. But it's not
it is.
and
there is something to say for face-to-face relationships, but there's also equal validity in a lot of those online relationships. I used to run like a Gothic website and that had a message board, and I had a lot of young people that were there, and it was very much a community for them. So we had developed relationships that we're still in contact with each other on various social networks, because of the various bonds and shared interests and all that. So I think a lot of those, it's a different kind of closeness, because you communicate differently, and you can still communicate honestly. And for me, the internet is a wonderful way to find little bastions of intelligence and wisdom out there in the world. Like
that's true.
Or something, and you see somebody else write something cleverly or express some truth of life cleverly, and you're like, you know what? I kind of connect with that person in a way. So I think those relationships are valid. But of course, there's the distance of them, and the disconnection of them is maybe something to reckon with. I don't know what the effects of that are going to be.
I've met a lot of people online over the years, and a lot of my directors, but it's funny. I will try, because I travel a lot, so I will try to meet people in person that I meet online. And I've met a lot of them over the years. When I go out and lecture, a lot of times, like when I was in Laughlin, Nevada, a bunch of friends from Cali and Las Vegas, other places came out to see me while I was there. And so we got, we all have dinner and hang out and just chat. And, and it kind of seals the bond even harder. A couple of my good friends that I've been knowing 10, 12 years, we connect at different conferences, different places, just to keep that bond sealed, because I run the largest UFO alien organization in the world with 130 something thousand members now, and over 140,000 cases. So all of those people, as many as we can, we try to keep it tight. People want to talk about things. People need to talk about things. People need to talk about life. So we keep a lot of open areas where we can talk to people about a lot of different things. And then, like the show following this one's called The Chat, it's simply an audience-inspired show. The audience controls the whole topic line. The hosts have no control of what we're talking about, nothing. So whatever, and it doesn't matter. It could be food. It could be anything. If they bring it up, we're gonna talk about it. And until we can't talk about it, until we got to move on to something else. But it's a different way of doing things. And the millennials like it better. The X-Geners like it better. X-Geners are definitely more hands-on than the rest of the races are. Jesse, the X-Geners are the last feral generation, yes. What I mean by that is they had to go outside and play in the yard. Get out the house. Don't come back till dark. Yeah, stuff like that. You need a drink. That's what the hose is for. Get out of here. You're hot. Turn on the sprinkler. What? Get the hell out of here. It's a different world. That they were raised differently than the kids today. My kid, he went outside when he had to. Most time he's in front of a video game or in school. You know what? I said this then. I said, all these kids, all these video games, in about 20 years, the military is going to be real happy because now all we use is remote control and drones. So those kids are paying off. Oh, yeah, it's paying off big for the military. Yeah, I mean, we got 2 generations of gamers, serious gamers, too. So that all pays off. They were talking about the guy who won. He won one of the first-person shooter games. They had him giving advice to a SEALs team on how to do corners, because his kill rate was so high.
Wow.
So when they gave him, they put him in charge of these, they look like little mini dogs. He was killing people for the military even seen him. He wrote a book about it. I'll have to get the name for y'all. It's kind of scary because this is just was some kid that they turned into a stone cold killer. I mean, a stone cold killer. He doesn't even think about it. I guess when you're killing people by remote controls, pilots say that all the time. It's not the same as seeing somebody when you shoot him in the face. He said, when you drop a bomb on a bunch of people, that's a bomb. What the hell? You don't see nothing. And actually, Obama watched those kills, Jackie. Yeah, unfortunately, he did. It's one of Michelle things she talked about. Said that's one of the things that changed her husband was watching women and children and babies being bombed in Syria. She said it just changed him. Oh, yeah, she said it more than once. Recently, she said she wished there was a way to take it back. Those are jobs that, I'm sure when he got the job, he never thought any of that was going to be part of his life. Unfortunately, when you're president of the most powerful nation in the world, shit happens. I don't hold it against him. I just, I don't hold it against any president because sooner or later, at least since I've been alive, president's forced to use violence. I know there should be a better way, but as it stands right now, I cannot tell you one president that did not use violence. And even Joe Biden did. I know. And he wasn't even awake. I'm not even sure. Wait, Chris, I can pick on Joe. I'm not the only one picking on Joe. Was sleeping. He was. The problem with Joe is Joe's a nice guy. He just was sleeping. And what Trump? I don't even talk about Trump. Trump is he's a lot to talk about. Let's put it like catch one of our political shows, you'll hear us talk about it. Well, because I'm a centrist, you'll hear me say stuff like, "Oh, that was a good job. That was a good time." And sometimes you'll see me, "Oh my blinky, God, he did not actually say that." It floors me sometimes. Well, I can live with stuff as long as the economy turns around. Yeah. I can. There's certain things I'm willing to put up with for a really strong economy. So, and that's one of them. Yeah, ignorancy. So be like Dave. Start writing. Lose yourself in a good novel. Look, you know what? I just recently we had some people on from Iraq. We've done. Some of the winners have been what do you call them? Not interrogators for the military. I've talked about 6 or 7 of them from the Writers of the Future group who did interrogation work and are now authors. And every one of them will tell you the same thing. It's therapy for them. Everyone will tell you that. It's even though sometimes they even write about stuff about what happened to them, but even though a lot of this turns out to be fantasy or sci-fi, they will tell you it is fantasy. Therapy for them. It helps them to get past whatever HDDT they're having in the middle of the night.
I think all speculative fiction has that aspect, along with good science fiction always has something to say or something to get through therapy-wise about the current situation of the author.
I think Babylon 5 got me through the first 5 years of my son's life. He was tough, guys. He was a pain in the ass. He was a very he's got high IQ. He's very he was like a dog when you leave him at home for days on end, they rip your house apart. He was like that, man. He just needed a lot of stimulus. He's a smart kid. He does what he wants. He's happy. That's all that matters to me. No, James. So I posted the link for the startup a few minutes ago. It went out on all of our pages. and I'm going to post it to the website in the morning. But it's on Facebook, it's on Rumble, it's on Twitch, it's on X, it's on YouTube, so you can catch it on all the pages. Just scroll down, you'll see it there. I'll post it again before we leave.
Much appreciated.
And go over there and make a donation, people. No, we're not saying go give. You don't have to be $1 million person. Just give a donation. If you ever notice on our donation page for the website, it starts at $1 and goes up from there, because some people can't afford that. What do you mean $1? $1 by itself can't do anything, but if a couple hundred people do $1, it can actually make a difference, or a couple of thousand.
Right. You're contributing to the artists that you want them to keep making their art that you enjoy.
Yes, get out. Who did the page? I think Dave did the page. Who did the picture, Dave? Was that you or?
The artwork itself we purchased from an artist.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, we've done that for all our anthologies. We don't use AI or anything like that to create.
No, I don't blame you for that.
But yeah, I just do the graphics, the layout, and
okay.
typography.
Dean, no, I'm not anti-AI. I'm anti-AI in the fact that I don't want it pushing my friends out of illustrating and being authors. And I think AI has can be used for a lot of things, but I don't feel I don't want fake art. I want art that's done from the soul and the heart. And you're not going to get that through AI. And when it comes to stories, I've read many stories from AI, and they're all junk. I mean, none of them have any substance. I mean, you could read like the first 10 paragraphs, you're like, oh yeah, this might be good. And then the next 50 pages is jibber jabber. It doesn't even connect most of the time. You're kind of like, what? It's like a computer just spit out a bunch of random words. And then all of a sudden it gets coherent again towards the end. So it's like it'll give you a beginning and end, but nothing. You can't write a story like that. You got to have substance to the damn story. I think like Greg does with his company, where he hires illustrators, programmers, and artists. I mean, illustrators, programmers, and authors to make his games. So they do game concept, they do the storyboards, they write the story, they do the programming, and then when he's happy with everything, he starts his people at $122,000 a year. He used to start them at 100, but this year it went up to 122. When he's happy, he gives all those people a new project, and he takes the AI and lets the AI develop the game. So instead of taking another 2 years to develop the game, it'll be done in less than 10 months. So he's producing, where he used to produce one game every 3 years, he is now producing 2.5 games every 3 years. So that doubles the amount of money coming into his company. And it also allows him to keep his people and not take them out in favor of AI, because he's like me. He likes talented people. He wants to see them work. He feels that true creativity is only going to come from humans, at least for the next couple of 100 years. He said he just doesn't see AI. AI makes entirely too many mistakes. Matter of fact, I did a show recently on Alexa and Siri back here on how many mistakes they make, how many times they're wrong when you ask them a question. So Alexa is 1 in every 3 questions you ask her, she gets it wrong. Siri is 1 in 2.
Okay, I found this on the web. For how many times it's 1 every 3 questions you get wrong. Check it out.
Yeah, listen at her. And then she's gonna try to contradict me and argue with me. That's the new AI.
There's a little bit of that in because sometimes you can use certain machine learning services like ChatGPT and such for coding development, programming. And you can say, look, I'm just trying to figure out how do I make this happen on a website or in an application? What's the best practices code for this? And it'll come out with some code. You know, how do I work with this plugin or something? And then you'll look through it, and sometimes it'll work. And then other times you'll be like, wait a minute, this function doesn't exist. What are you talking about? And it'll be like, you're right. Let's find another way to do it. And then it'll proceed with another suggested thing that it's going to glean from all over the internet. So it's not, it's better, you know, the machine learning and the algorithms are better for maybe development purposes, but yeah, definitely not for creative.
Yeah. No, Jesse, you don't want your car arguing with you when it's driving you around. You know, when you say go this way and it says, no, this is no car. I didn't say do that. I'd go this way. Alexa's like that. I'll tell her something. She'll want to get sassy and tell you something else. I'm like, no. And I love when she tells me, oh, you're right. I'm like, that happens way too much. Well, because AI is not actually a computer like you're thinking of a computer, Chris. So when you access your computer, when you're online doing your computer and stuff, everything's instantaneous and the answers are already pre-done somewhere. Those answers have been verified, checked, and then posted. AI is not doing that. AI is basically guessing like you would guess. Now it's got a more advanced guess because it's gleaming from way more sources, but still it's a guess. Sorry, guys.
And it's going to get worse because the more content is being created by AI, that's the content that's being used as learning material for the answers you're going to get, and it's going to become even more vague. And
well, Denise, AI is in trouble because a bunch of artists have gotten together and want to sue because they're stealing their intellectual material. So in order for AI to work, it has access to everything on the internet. Okay, Jesse, most stuff on the internet is copyrighted. So if you're using like one of Dave's stories or anything, anybody's stories or to learn from, or you're using somebody's art to learn from, you're breaching copyright. You're supposed to pay them for that. So now there's a big argument about who's going to pay for this. ChatGPT. I mean, there's so many AIs out there now. Who are you going to go after? Everybody? I mean, shit, Online owns 2 companies making AI. Japan's got their own, China's got their own, and America, I think, has 10 or 15 AIs running around right now. So, but they really want to sue. They're like, no, it's not fair to us because, and one of the artists made a good point. She said, okay, I spent all this time making this picture and I did all this work. She said, this AI copied it, reproduced it, and the guy sold it for $5,000 in all of 5 minutes.
Wow.
She said, it took me months to make this. And it's a beautiful painting. But it didn't have her signature on it, and you got to prove it's hers. Then you have to prove if AI makes it that she made it before he did or it did. It's going to get to be a slippery slope. And then the Fed swears they're going to come out with regulations on this, that everything AI has to be marked AI. If not, there'll be a stiff high fine of like 50 grand or something. So that might slow things down. I am not anti-AI. I am in a way pro-AI, but I'm not in a way it affects anybody's pocketbook, I guess is what I should say, or creativity. I think Dave's going to work around.
Right.
Yeah. We wanted to help our daily chores and help our lives be easier, not do our creativity for us.
Yes, and I agree wholeheartedly with that statement.
Speaking of which, what have you been working on lately?
Well, I do have a lot of short stories. I want to kind of get back out in the markets, and I do have a completed novel and a couple others that I'm working on that I'm poking forward generally, because I'm sort of a fairly linear writer and I don't leap forward to do scenes later on. But mostly that, just sort of nudging all of the creative bits in a little farther along than they were.
Well, good.
All speculative, fantasy, sci-fi, some of it.
Right. So just for our listeners, David was a winner in the Writers of the Future contest, and he's published in L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future, Volume 36, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And the story was what?
It was called Trading Ghosts, which was one of those science fiction stories with a religious bent that has no giggles in it.
Oh, okay.
It's probably a hard story to like, but I was very.
I made the book. Can't be that hard to like.
Very glad that Joni contacted me.
Right. Oh, there we go. Is that volume 36?
I'm pretty sure that's volume 36. Yeah, volume 36.
Cool. Wow.
When you said it, I realized I had it behind me.
That's the one with that Echo did the cover on it.
Yeah, when she brought all the stuff back to Washington with her, I remember that. She was a mess, man. Janice, that's Echo Chang he's talking about. Yeah, she's a coordinating judge for the illustrators.
So we're at the end of the show here, and Joe, do you want to give or David, do you want to give the Kickstarter how they might find the?
Well, I just posted the link again into the chat group so they can see it there.
Okay.
What was the name of the story again, Dave?
It's called Trading Ghosts.
Oh, this one right here. This is it right here, right? This is the picture for it right there.
On the left. Mm-hmm.
I get a little closer. This camera, I need to get a better camera for these pictures. Oh no, Jesse, these pictures, the ones you're seeing here, were done by Illustrator winners. Yes.
Mhm.
I'm sure it has a name on there on the left side who the illustrator was, but so it's an interesting picture. You know, I remember when I seen this the first time, I was thinking, what is
Also
this going to
interesting
be
because,
about?
like, the illustrators aren't. I mean, they may. Or I don't know if they read the stories that they're. I mean, they must.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
But it is completely their interpretation as to what's going to be represented in the artwork, and I thought it was really interesting the direction he took. You know, the illustrator's from Iran, and he thought it was in my depiction of an angel in the story is different from his culture's you know, interpretation of angels, and he thought that
Oh,
was
wow.
interesting.
Mhm.
So yeah, he presented that a certain way.
Nice. Yeah.
No,
I
Jesse,
believe he had visa problems and couldn't make it to the awards event. So
At the time, I think that was
yeah, getting out of Iran is not an easy thing because Iran needs a thing. They're guaranteed. Somebody guarantees that they're coming back. So if they don't have family or certain things that they can threaten them with, they won't let them out of the country.
Wow.
It's, there's other countries besides that, Jesse. There's a few of them like that out there. Not like us. We just want them to leave. Yeah, we want everybody to leave. Hell, and then on top of that, the Indians want all of us to leave. Man, it's rough around here. Get out. Oh no, stuff like that's too funny to me. Because some things are ridiculous, Jesse. I mean, if we were to start thinking like that, you know how far backwards we'd have to go. We'd have to kick all kind of people out. We'd have to time travel and take the Romans and the Greeks out for sure. All of Africa would have to go. I mean, it'd be bad, man. Unfortunately, our world is not like that, Jesse. We're a progressive world. We move and stack stuff on top of other things. Think about it. Go to New York City, okay? 8 million people there. Now, if 8 million people live properly, that city would be 10 times the size it is. Nope, they went up instead of out. Yes, we just stack ourselves on top. We just keep stacking on. We're gonna make it easier for when the nuke comes. That's all. Yeah. One little thing was an important thing. We are 85 seconds from midnight, people. That is where the doomsday clock is currently sitting at 85, the closest it's ever been since it was conceived. 85 seconds, yes. Don't ask what it means, people. It just means it's 85 seconds. What 85 seconds? We count right now. We count tonight. When's that 85 seconds start? It's crazy. That'd be a good book too, Dave. How the end of the world's going to come. Who's that? Who was it? Not Stormy. Who was it?
Well, there you go. I just did a search on Kickstarter, and if you go ahead and go to Kickstarter and just type in Mist Fits, it'll come up
with a hyphen.
With the not even I didn't even put in the hyphen in.
Okay, good.
But Mist MISSED Fits FITS, and you can see it there.
Oh, good.
They won't let me click it from here. That's weird. It's on all the pages too, so you can go right there and just click on the page and go.
So hopefully, if people are interested in maybe reading a collection of stories eventually, that will distract them from how close we are to the end of the world.
That's right.
And some of the stories contained herein might contain themes of the end of the world. Then hopefully we'll have that for you soon.
Okay. All right.
So Bob's got to tell y'all good night. So Bob's going to tell you. Bob says good night, everybody.
Thanks very much.
Bob likes to hang out. You know, he always says humans taste the best for some reason. I'm not sure why. Well, let me rephrase that. He actually says low cholesterol humans taste the best.
Low cholesterol.
I guess you and I are off the ballot, Karma. We're too high in cholesterol. But no, it was great talking with you, Dave. It really was. You know, stuff like that. You get a book. I tell people all the time. You see all the books that are behind me back there. A lot of people are writers of the future. So I do a lot of stuff with John and but you know, there's Kevin J. Anderson over there. That's David Hawkins, Wolf Moon's over there. There's a bunch of other authors laying around, and there's other stuff you can't even see in the studio right now, where other things are laying around. And you can't see any artwork behind it. All those pictures back there, people are collected. Right?
I have a very similar set of the two globes on the metallic background.
Oh, I love that. That's okay. I gotta stop. It used to be hung. I took it down. It was hung somewhere else. I took it down. Yeah, I'm gonna put it back up there. It's a great. I also have what's his name's what a two touching the two fingers. It's somewhere in the house. That little shit actually cost me a small little fortune. It's a gold foil is what it is.
Nice.
It's the guy said when I bought, I said, dude, that's some stupid paper. He said, no, I'll give you the certificate for it. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. I said, oh, okay. Not what I was looking for, but hey, it's a pretty picture.
Okay.
See, there's what Karma lives.
I got.
You better get out of here, Karma. I know you got to go.
I do.
You got to get. Tell John when you talk to him. I'll send over his numbers. I got to send him something else because he forgot something.
Okay.
But I'll send
David, so good to have you on the show. Hope you enjoyed it.
Very much for it. Yeah.
Like I said, anytime you get anything, just let Karma and myself know. We'll post it up there or send it over.
Do much appreciated.
Yeah, okay. I can tell when somebody's been in my studios because my books the kids come in and want to steal a book sometimes. Grandkids love these anthologies. They'll sit there.
They want to steal books. That's better than nothing.
Well, I don't complain. I say, look, help yourself. You'll hear stuff like, "Hey Joe, can I have a book?" I'm like, "What kind of book?" Yeah, one of them. They actually know what an anthology is now. They're like this tall. I'm like, really? I'm like, yeah, okay. If since you know what it is, go ahead and get one. Go read it. Now I'll come back there. They're on the couch just reading their little happy asses off. You hear them going ooh and ah and stuff. I'm like, it's just so nice to hear. I gave 2 cases of actually L. Ron Hubbard books to one of the local libraries just recently, and said, here,
Nice.
give them away, put them in your library. I think it was book 36 and book 35.
Oh, nice.
Left over, yeah. But anyway, I know we got to get out of here. I'm gonna let you get out of here. Dave, it was great talking to you, Carmen. I know you got to go take care of business. Ladies and gentlemen, remember I'll be on the chat with Sean and Jay in a little bit. We'll be talking about a lot of different stuff. One of the topics is somebody I had given testimony at Congress a while back on UFO stuff, and then somebody actually sent me a new project that they were working on through the military and asked me if I would review it. So I said, you know what? Let me do it online. That way I can get more feedback from it. But on that note, we got to go. Thanks again, Dave. Thanks again, Karma. John's getting beat up by Emily. Yes.
Okay. All right. No big deal.
She said, I'm just teasing, guys. I'm just teasing.
Okay.
On that note, we got to go. Thanks again for tuning in to the Authors Quill on United Public Radio. And we'll see you next week. Have a good weekend.
All right.